doing a little Ghost of Tsushima review roundup, just because I was the one that we were the ones that were basically at either ends of the spectrum. I felt like it wasn't going to be that great of a game for a PlayStation exclusive, an 8 out of 10. Amalek thought that it might be game of the year, maybe game of the generation.
It still might be.
So so we're basically gonna watch a review, go through the Metacritic scores, see how things pan out. Just going through all these thumbnails here, it looks like it's pretty good. We're basically gonna sync up, try and get synced up for one of the reviews that we're gonna watch. We're gonna watch the Ghost of Tsushima one, and actually you might as well click into it now, pause it at the beginning, and then we can just say when to play. But yeah, that's basically what we're gonna do. We're gonna see how IGN feel about it and go from there. So we're just gonna sync up now. You ready, Ams?
Yeah, it's just getting through these ads.
Oh, okay. I'll give you a second.
I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Let's go. Let's see what IGN think of this game.
Ever since
it playing on the screen, yeah?
started leaping around in time and space, there has been a long-standing itch to see an open-world stealth action game set in feudal Japan. Consider that itch sufficiently scratched with Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch's latest is an absolutely gorgeous adventure through one of history's most strikingly beautiful landscapes, which you get to liberate with one of the best blade-to-blade combat systems the genre has ever seen. There are some stumbles when it comes to stealth, enemy AI, and a few general minor frustrations.
That's what
but
patches
for just
are for.
about every moment where Ghost of Tsushima falters, there are plenty more where it soars.
They still got that in the game though.
The slow-mo.
Yeah, I don't really think I'm gonna play the game actually like stealth. I think
Ghost of Tsushima
me,
is a fictional tale told with
fictional
fictional characters, but it's based
action.
on the very real invasion of Japan
I love stealth,
by the Mongol Empire in 1274 that began
it'll
on
be
the island of
partly
Tsushima.
the samurai stuff.
You take control of Jin Sakai, capably acted by the man in the high castle's Daisuke Tsuji.
So
he starts off as a samurai before a disastrous
defeat
quickly teaches him that perhaps the honorable but restrictive ways of the samurai code might not be enough to deal with this new existential threat. Ghost of Tsushima revolves around this inner conflict as Jin's formative teachings push up against his need to save his homeland at any cost.
I do really like these graphics, man.
It takes a little while to really get going, but it's a compelling struggle, even if Jin himself isn't the most charismatic of protagonists. The English voice cast is great all around, though it's a shame that the excellent Japanese audio track comes off as a comparatively cheap dub with wildly mismatched lip flaps.
I was never going to use the Japanese word anyway.
It's not a huge issue, as it's still well worth playing in Japanese, especially to check out the black and white Kurosawa mode in all of its film-grain glory. What is ever a bummer is the music, which seamlessly shifts.
I guess it would have taken them quite a while
to thunderous taiko drums once blades start clashing.
Yeah, this is my ballpark.
It always enhances whatever emotion a scene is trying to evoke.
Okay.
This is...
I just want the music that's in
Ghost
that trailer.
Ghost of Tsushima's combat is like a witch's brew made with bits of the Batman
it's starting
Arkham
to
series, the pre-Origins
like it's
Assassin's Creed,
Sekiro
Shadows Die Twice, and the entire library of Kurosawa films.
films.
And as witches brews tend to be, the result is magical. From the outset, it's pretty basic. Light attacks, heavy attacks, a block button, a dodge button, etc. All stuff that will sound familiar. The glue, though, that holds this combat system together and allows it to remain interesting
Dark
the
Souls,
whole
it'll
way
be
through
complex. Come on
is
now.
the addition of
Don't be
stances,
silly.
each of which is suited to deal with a different weapon type.
Also,
honest. Wind Stance can do this.
Oh wow. Sweet
Shawn Michaels
music.
when it's at its best, combat in Ghost of Tsushima is fast, chaotic, tactical, and feels true to the fantasy of being the lone, hyper-skilled but outnumbered
I just want to be able to
the little touches also go a long way toward combat's exquisite feel. In addition to bringing a little bit of visual spectacle. You barely see the on-screen HUD, and the camera always stays really tight so you can get a close-up view of the action.
Looks like you can
Enemies
have
clear audio tells so that even if you can't see them, you know when to dodge or block. And
this is what I wanted. They haven't given us a samurai game or a sword game where the sword feels like a sword.
But the most
It
rewarding
always
part
feels
is
like
that there's no
they take
traditional
too many
level-based
hits.
stat progression. which
This
is
one,
great.
it looks like
and
they're
here's
falling
why.
apart from a couple
When you get
cuts.
stronger in Ghost of Tsushima, it's not because invisible numbers went up and now you deal more damage and take less when you're hit. It's because your techniques got better and now you have new, better ways of dealing with tougher enemies, like blocking attacks that you couldn't block before. Learning to use those techniques effectively feels awesome. As a result, you won't ever run into that problem
don't even care about
of
the
wandering
story.
into an area or taking on a
Just
quest
give me
that
the
you're
combat.
underleveled for
They
because
haven't
you
I
haven't
don't know
done
if he's
enough
spoken
grinding.
about it. Has he
You'll
spoken
never
about
get
it yet?
one-shotted by an archer
No,
who's
no.
5 levels higher
It's
than
gonna
you,
know
or
about
have to spend
combat
5
and
minutes
environments as
chopping
well.
down a sword equivalent of a bullet sponge. This system really impressed me because Ghost of Tsushima's difficulty always managed to feel appropriate no matter what point of the campaign I was
Might
at.
play on
Enemies
hardest.
do get tougher, and you do need to improve your gear by upgrading
don't
your
ever
sword,
wanna play on hardest
armor, and
till I've
charms to
learned
meet
the
the
systems.
difficulty curve.
I might try
But
and
the
stream
stat
it
improvements
if,
from gear
DJ
always
doesn't
felt
want it. I
secondary
don't know.
to the
I don't know.
skills that you accumulate. And the challenge always felt
this
fair,
could be an interesting
even when
one
I
if
bumped the
CJ
difficulty
streaming
up
it.
to
Yeah,
hard
it's
mode,
true.
which makes enemies more
'Cause they say
aggressive,
you
but it
take
never took away from the
the same amount of damage
of my
enemies
sword.
do. Yeah, a lot of deaths. It's not because it's not his type of game, innit? He's
Good
more.
thing that the blade-to-blade
shooting.
combat in Ghost of Tsushima is so good because Jin's ninja-inspired stealth does not hold up its end of the bargain.
Aw.
It works on a very basic level, but the real
Disappointing.
problems arise once you get spotted. Enemies just don't know how to handle it.
Alright, so it looks like combat is the right choice. Oh really? Oh my gosh.
They don't know.
It's like
I
if you
thought
do
it-
anything
surely
other
that's
than
the
just
glitch,
fight
just
once you break
isn't-
stealth,
I'm
the
not
AI
expecting
just
the game.
throws up its
It's open
hands and
world, innit?
shrugs.
It's not going to be that.
Jin's
polished.
stealth tools are also
I
very
don't even know if
rudimentary
it's
and
polished
don't
or it's
allow you
like
any sort of creativity
they've
that
put it
might make
out
stealth
and
a little
they've
more
fixed a lot
exciting.
of things with
None of
day
the
one
flexibility
batch
and
that
versatility
the
of the
reviewers
melee
didn't
combat
get.
is found in the stealth gameplay.
'Cause that's stuff they would've seen,
Ghost of
surely.
Tsushima offers a way to make going loud right out of the gate just as advantageous as picking off a handful of enemies unnoticed, and it does so
I
in
like
the
that
best
first
possible
move.
way, by
That quick
staying
cut.
true to its Samurai Cinema roots. At the beginning of most combat
probably just
encounters,
gonna end
you can
up
trigger a
being
standoff,
big damage
which allows
for
you to target one of your enemies in a
the first
classic
one.
showdown, or
First
you've got to
enemy.
wait for them
Yeah.
to make a move to attack, and then strike with one of your own to take them down in one hit. You can even chain standoff streaks to take out more enemies. By the late game, I was taking 5 enemies out at the start of every fight.
As long as it has to be timed
Of course,
and it's
there
harder
is
to
risk
time on
involved.
harder
If
difficulty.
you lose, your health is drained to almost nothing, and you're surrounded by a bunch of angry men with sharp weapons.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
okay.
an all-around fantastic mechanic that not only
Oh,
fits
if he
with the
misses
samurai
it, he
game,
loses all his
but also
health.
takes the fun but
So it's-
typically
so it's-
disastrous
yeah.
tactic
It's a
of just
trade-off.
waltzing
They
in
call
through
it
the front
risk,
gate
yeah.
of an enemy
High risk.
encampment and makes it potentially
reward.
just
High
as
reward.
rewarding as stealthily clearing out a bunch of guards.
Okay.
Open world games can often feature some of the most beautiful virtual landscapes there are, and Ghost of Tsushima is right up there with the best of them. It may not quite meet the promise of its 2018 gameplay reveal trailer,
downgrade.
but this is still a stunningly gorgeous game with
Downgrade
great
system.
open
I
world
like-
design. It
I don't
takes
even know
care
if it's
to not
downgrade
disturb
or
the
it's-
view with obstructive
you're not
UI
getting
to
that
point
version
you
till
towards locations
PS5.
of interest, and instead uses subtle cues to direct
Those
you.
look like God rays.
Side quests are
and
more
PS4
interesting than
Pro isn't
usual
pushing
because
God
there are
rays.
actually several
No
different
way.
types. The first and most common are your typical garden variety tasks called Tales of Tsushima.
Well, I'm on the
These
base
are
PS4
largely
anyway,
forgettable,
so I'll
but
never
at the
get
very
it.
least they don't feel like they're just being churned out and used as padding. More often than not, they're thoughtful enough to take unexpectedly dark turns and occasionally
Yeah, I
present
think
interesting gameplay
this game is
scenarios
going
that
to
you
look
won't
very
see
different on
anywhere else.
PS5.
One level above that are the multi-part character-specific side quests that basically span the entire campaign. These quests serve to give each major character their own story arc and let them reflect an aspect of Jin's own journey. It's very interesting to see
Pretty
both
cool.
how they develop and the impact they have on
Get
his
to
own
learn about the side
Some of
characters
the later
properly.
ones are especially touching and deal with some pretty heavy subject matter. One in particular makes exceptional use of Ghost of Tsushima's scouting mechanic in a very clever and emotional way. Tales of Tsushima typically reward you with charms that boost a certain aspect of your character, allowing you to spec into different builds, whether it be a stealth build, tanky build, or a build centered around terrifying your enemies. In the early going, these charms were a great
Unless you got
incentive
what he
to
said.
complete side quests, but once I had pretty much all the charms that I needed later on, the Tales of Tsushima lost much of their appeal from a reward standpoint. Finally, there are the Mythic Tales. These are epic side quests that are obtained by listening to a musician tell their story via these awesome animated Sumie cutscenes. The rewards are among the best you can get, but even without those incentives, these quests are
I've been
still
seeing
some
a
of the
lot
best
of
moments in all of
customization.
Ghost of Tsushima.
and
My
I like
favorite
it.
thing about exploration, though, and something that I especially appreciate
That's the one
as
thing
someone
that can
who's
get
not
me in the
typically
game, being
big
able
on
to
collectibles,
customize the character
is
a
that
lot.
every major collectible has both a worthwhile reward and a fun mini-challenge tied to it. Whether it's the button-pressing challenge of the bamboo strikes, or the signature Sucker Punch-esque platforming sections leading to shrines, I was always eager to seek them out. When I was done, I looked for a New Game Plus, but there is none. So post-game wise, there's not much to do outside of hunting collectibles and finishing up leftover
Don't
side
like New
quests.
Game Plus, do they,
Also,
sometimes?
replaying from the start on
These
either a harder
companies.
difficulty or in Kurosawa mode is a little aggravating
Mm.
because you can't skip cutscenes. Finally, can we talk about photo mode
God of
for a
War
second?
didn't have
I've
it
been
straight
dying
away
to
either,
talk
did
about
it?
photo mode all
Say that
review.
again?
Ghost of Tsushima's photo mode is
God of
one
War
of the
didn't
best
have
I've ever seen.
New
Partially
Game Plus
because the
straight away,
world is
did
just
it?
so pretty, but also because of the unique touches that Sucker Punch added, like the ability
Maybe
to have
they
animated background environments, or
they
to
always
add a
start
large
with
selection
photo
of
mode,
particles
though.
like leaves,
It's the most
fireflies,
important
or even
mode on
songbirds.
these PS
My one
exclusives.
disappointment is Jin's emotions, which, well, lack emotion.
The verdict.
Ghost of Tsushima is an enormous and densely packed samurai adventure that often left me completely awestruck with both its visual spectacle and excellent combat. By steadily introducing new abilities instead of stat upgrades, its swordplay manages to stay challenging, rewarding, and fun through the entire 40 to
That
50
looked
hours
good.
that it took me to beat the campaign. There are a few
40,
areas
50
lacking in
hours,
polish,
Jesus.
especially when it comes to enemy
a long
AI
time, man.
and the stealth part of its stealth
Oh,
action
what's going on
split,
here?
but this is
that is
still an
bugging out.
extraordinary open-world action-adventure game that solves several issues that have long gone unaddressed in the genre, while also being just an all-around samurai slashing.
9 out of 10.
Okay.
I have the feeling this.
While I still have you here, check
Looking
out
at
some
that,
more of
it's
my
gonna be
favorite
more
shots
of a
from photo
Spider-Man
mode.
than a God
And
of
for more
War.
Ghost of Tsushima, check out 18 minutes of 4K
As in
gameplay.
like
And
a
for
good
everything
game,
else, keep it
not
here on
generational.
IGN.
Or what?
Yeah, so like Spider-Man was a very good game, but it wasn't like a masterpiece.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's go
Well,
to. Huh?
I would probably would have put Last of Us closer to that until the other night, where I thought of a way they could do the story, and it's been frustrating me ever since.
What, as in The Last of Us 2?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought of a way to make the story better. It's annoying.
Yeah, that happens. I've done that as well, which is unfortunate because I don't even care about the game like that. But I've done that a lot. Let's go over to the Metacritic scores. And let's do a little roundup there to see what other people are doing and saying about the game. So Easy Allies are saying that it's at 85. Ghost of Tsushima has a lot going for it. Combat is fast and fluid. The story is engaging thanks to some great characters. Most disappointing is taking the stealthy approach. A lot of people are saying that apparently.
So, yeah.
So yeah, that's Easy Allies. Who else is there? Let me bring that up. Screen Rant. I don't know if you know them. Do you listen to them?
I don't watch them, but I know them.
Oh, okay. It's the way of the Ghosts of Tsushima. Oh yeah, that was just a weird way to say it. Combines elements players are both familiar and unfamiliar with that makes such an enjoyable experience, and which players will want to continue playing long after the credits roll. So they liked it as well.
Bloody plus.
They gave it a 10 out of 10. Game Informer. There's a few here that are their names are familiar to me, but I feel like they're also the websites that just like give games. 100 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's good. It's 10 out of 10. So I'm gonna try and find more.
I don't Game Informer before. I don't watch them.
Who?
I don't watch Game Informer, but I've definitely heard of them.
Oh, okay. IGN Japan, who gave The Last of Us 2 a 7 out of 10. Let's see what they have to say. While flaws such as repetitive side quests and often annoying navigation system can sometimes drag the experience down a little, epic sword fights, beautiful locations, amazing discoveries, and a deep Shida story make Ghost of Tsushima a unique open world adventure. They're obviously gonna like it. No, I'm joking. But that's good. That's good. Do you know what it is? It's good to see that.
It could be the bias because I know if
Yeah,
they made we have the bias for London, so they could have a bias for their culture
that's
being shown
true.
in
Like,
gaming.
I saw a lot of people actually saying that they didn't really have any interest in Watch Dogs Legion, which I'm just like, what?
You're crazy.
So
Say
maybe,
London.
yeah. But yeah, that could be true. Who else is
See,
there?
I'm starting to think that. So I thought it could be game of the year. Critics wise, it's definitely not going to be game of the year after
Yeah.
this.
I
think it could combat because people love gameplay. It could still very well be a hit with users.
Yeah.
If the combat is polished as it looks, then it could be a hit with gamers. It probably will have a better gamer score than The Last of Us, just because of what happened in The Last of Us. But it's not being it for game of the year. So now Last of Us only competition.
I don't think The Last of Us is gonna win Game of the Year.
I think at the moment it's winning.
It depends on like who we're talking about. I don't want to talk about The Last of Us on a Ghost of Tsushima review, but I actually don't think it will. If it's at like
at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna win it at the Game Awards. Nah, I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
I think there's games coming that could be it. I was hoping this would be the one just because it's samurais and ninjas. So for me, I think I will probably have this at a higher rating than Last of Us personally, from what I've seen. But we have to see when we get to play it.
That's fair. Let's go to the mids. So GameSpot, the game hits a lot. They've given it a 70 out of 10, just to be clear. But yeah, let me just zoom in so it's clearer for the people that are watching the video.
7 out of
10. So yeah, GameSpot, where have you gone? They've said the game hits a lot of fantastic cinematic highs, and those ultimately lift it above the trappings of its familiar open world quest design and all the innate weaknesses that come with it. But those imperfections and dull edges are definitely still there. Ghost of Tsushima is at its best when you're riding your horse and taking in the beautiful world on your own terms, armed with the sword and a screenshot button, allowing the environment cues and your own curiosity to guide you. It's not quite a Criterion classic, but a lot of time it sure looks like one. Oh, but it's a lot of the time, sorry, I can't read. Jesus Christ. But yeah.
Don't trust GameSpot or IGN, so that 9 and that 7 mean nothing to me.
So yeah, that's the. Let's go to just a few, as you can say, unscored ones. So they haven't actually scored it, but they've given their thoughts. So Kotaku, I'll just read a couple. Like Kotaku, Ghost of Tsushima is a pretty as heck sporadic capturing, left me with almost 50 gig worth of screenshots and short video clips, bro.
Jeez.
And short video clips to sift through. But at its core, it's just another open world game. Jeez. I found myself audibly sighing every time I crested a hill towards a mystery objective, only to find another fox to follow or another haiku to compose. Those diversions, while unique at first glance, proved to be just busy work at times as time wore on. So there it is. That one was kind of something. I didn't expect them to say that, but that's Kotaku for you. Yeah, I don't want to end.
Huh? It sounds like a lot of people have a problem with it being open world and having open world tropes and the stealth.
Yeah,
the two biggest problems.
Yeah, but apparently the combat is good, the story is alright, and the side quests are decent as well. So yeah, but yeah, it's got an 84 overall. You're liking this game. I personally think that Assassin's Creed is gonna end up higher.
It probably will. Combat wise, it doesn't look like it's gonna touch it.
That's fair. I think it will end up being a pretty good game. What are you thinking? Game of the year for yourself? Obviously, you haven't played it yet, but
I don't I think it will be higher than Last of Us for me, just because combat is something that's important to me.
Okay.
And I assume the combat will be better than Last of Us. Even though Last of Us combat was good, I think this one will be better. But also, I can't count out all the games that are coming.
What's happened there? Ooh. Just cut off. Oh wow. I think we're gonna end it there actually.
Huh?
Cut off. Oh, it's just cut off for some reason. On my end.
Yeah, I'm back now.
Oh, okay. I think it should be fine. Should be good.
Yeah, still recording.
It's actually streaming, but yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's yeah. So
I was saying that.
Yeah, go on.
I think there's still some games to come that could take the Game of the Year spot, like all the launch titles for both consoles. Cyberpunk, probably not Avengers. That's not going to be Game of the Year. I hoped it could be, but doesn't look like it. Even Watch Dogs Legion could take Game of the Year if they show me something. But I think at the moment it's Last of Us. This will probably take Last of Us for me personally, not for everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you?
I don't see it taking Game of the Year for me, but what I will say is that I think it will be an enjoyable game. I think I've got higher hopes than I did before, just because. But okay, to be honest with you, if I wasn't the person that just wants to go gung ho and I wanted to do a mix and match of the both, I'll be a bit more disappointed. But I know myself, I'm gonna walk up to people, slice them in the throat with my samurai sword, and I'm not gonna do any stealth. So yeah, I it's good to hear that the combat's good. That's gonna keep me going. Hopefully there's like a lot of encounters, just random encounters, just to like get into that a lot. And yeah, hopefully I'll enjoy the story more than The Last of Us. And yeah,
I don't think you cannot enjoy it more than The Last of Us, to be honest.
It's true. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video and the little roundup that we had, make sure to like and subscribe. Give us your thoughts on what you thought of the game if you're watching this after you've completed it, or
if you pre-ordered it.
Yeah, if you pre-ordered it. Yeah, if you tell us how excited you are. We are probably going to stream the game. It's a long one, but we probably may find a way to like stream maybe the first 2 hours or however long we want to, and make sure you join us for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time. Oh, and yeah, take care.